All right, it's hammer time. Oh crap, I did it wrong. Nice.
Hi guys, I'm John Garage, and today we're going to be going over one of my favorite new camping multi-tools I've picked up. Though, I mean, it'd be a good kind of multi-tool for around the house for sure. But it's the Roxon Rhino 16-in-1 tool, multi-tool. And so, like I said, I kind of consider it like a camping multi-tool because you don't really want to take this thing to a construction site just because, you know, it's not one big solid hammer, you know, pieces of it come out and everything. It's just, you don't want to be, you know, trying to build a building with something like this. So, but where it comes really in handy is one, around the house, and two, in my instance, going out camping. And that's because, mainly it's for these bad dudes. Camping stakes. And this thing makes very short work of them. And so basically what I'll do is, okay, I go backpacking like a little ways into the woods or whatever, and I'll just strap this directly onto my hip, and it's perfect, and it really doesn't get in the way or anything. I think it's a great sheath for it and everything. And basically, I mean, I guess I need it the most, one, when I am setting up the tent, and two, when I'm tearing it down. So I'll pull this out, I'll go around, I'll hammer in all the stakes, which it does a great job of, and then it can just kind of sit on my hip for the rest of the time. And then when I'm ready to get out of there, I just unhook this little thing and it becomes a little pair of pliers. Isn't that just so cool? I mean, it makes it easy. Like, these things could be kind of a pain. Even with the little lanyard you put on them, like to pull out, it just kind of wears on your fingers. And, I mean, and then on these, like, I don't know, it's just any tool you can use to make it a little easier on your poor, fragile biomechanic body parts that's a win for me. So I totally forgot to mention, one of my favorite things to do with, I have this little Ravivon Aurora A3. I can take this and I can put it on top of the sheath, so then, you know, it's attached to my hip or whatever, and if I need to, you know, illuminate something real quick, I just push down on the top of it. And it's really easy to do, you know, and I can hit it a couple times, it'll stay on, but it's just, I don't know, it's another cool little thing I can do. And then you can easily pull it off and everything, and because it's hooked on there, once you open this thing, it's not really going to go anywhere. So it's a great little pairing I found. That's the gist of what it does, but the cool thing about it being a multi-tool is that it can actually replace many of the other tools I might take out, because it has several different implements on it. So first one we'll go over is a knife. And, you know, it might not be the best knife in the world, but it certainly will get the job done. And it's not like you need to be out there cutting paper and having it so sharp that it cleanly cuts through a, you know, little magazine page or something like that. Next up we have the saw, which it cuts fairly well. It could do with being a little bit longer, but you know, with perseverance, you're certainly able to cut through things of a certain diameter, of course. Next up, something I always look for in a multi-tool is a good can opener. Then, of course, it has your bottle opener, because what would a multi-tool be without one? And then finally, we have a file and a little Phillips bit. I need to find another thing real quick. Where'd it go? Because the cool thing with this is you can put, as part of the Roxon family, you can put this little sleeve on it, and then you have a screwdriver. So instead of taking out like a whole screwdriver or something like that, you also have this. I'm not quite sure how often you would need a screwdriver out in the wood, but I think it's one of those things it's better to have it and not need it than vice versa. And so that's kind of the main tools on this. I might add that each tool actually locks into place, so it's actually really nice. It has a little ruler here thing that goes up to 4 inches in length, and then I guess I forgot this little thing, which is it has a fire starter, a little ferro rod thing right here. Nope. I'm the fool, is this one right there. And with that you use the let's see, there's a little strike around the saw up here, so you can, I'm not going to do it in here because my house would blow up, but bam, lights it up. And you know, I don't really fidget around with the ferro rods or anything because I just take a nice Bic lighter out there. It would be cool to kind of figure out how to use it more, but anyway. So I think this thing is great. I love it. It's lightweight. A lot of people talk about the MSR tent hammer, which I looked it up. That dude is like 45 bucks. It weighs about 11 ounces, and all it can really do is you can hammer and you can pull up stakes. Now, this thing gives you more. It costs $36, and it weighs like around 10 ounces, and that's with the holster that it comes with. So, to me, I think it's just a very good, you know, multi-purpose type thing. And I suppose I'm not sure how great it would do in like frozen ground or anything like that, but if you're doing that, you know, you're probably advanced beyond my level of camping anyway, so you probably already have it figured out. But you know, it works perfectly well for going out in, you know, anywhere you might go. It just helps you, you know, avoid breaking tent stakes by trying to stomp them into the ground with your foot. You don't have to go around and look for rocks to bash into it or big sticks or anything like that. Just makes it easy. And then, you know, between setting up and tearing down your tent, you have all these little tools for kind of everything else you'd need. The one bummer is it doesn't have scissors on it. And there's a couple other things. So actually using the tools, particularly the saw, is not as nice as I'd like it, because you're sawing, but then, you know, the nail puller part of this is kind of digging into you. So it's not like you can do it, but it's one of those things where, you know, no multi-tool is going to do anything perfectly, and this is kind of one of the areas in which it falls backward a little bit. But the other one, trying to open a can with it, also wasn't ideal, and it was just, I don't know, I had taken out another multi-tool with me, and it just seemed to do the job a little bit better, but it still did it. It just took more time, and I think mainly because it's a little awkward to try and use it, given this whole hammer part of it. But, you know, those are things that, for the convenience of just having this whole thing out there, I'm willing to have a few inconveniences as well. So I think it's really great, even if you're not someone who's trying to go out and camp. It will drive nails like of any size in there, but if you mess up and need to pull it out, this thing won't quite get the job done. It just doesn't get enough leverage. There's not enough length on it to be able to really like pry it straight up or anything like that. But certainly, like going around the house, hanging pictures, hammering nails in, smaller nails, you can pull them back out no problem. And so, you know, I think it's really good to just honestly throw in like your junk drawer for like, oh, you know, I gotta do this thing real quick, or unscrew this, or, you know, saw this thing open if you're having problems with your chip bag or something. I don't know. Yeah, has the knife, has the bottle and can opener, and oh, I forgot to mention, it also has little replaceable wire cutters here, which I used. I tested it out on some like kind of chicken wire I had, and while it cuts okay, the issue is that it's so wide up here in the plier part, and I mean so long too with the hammer and the nail puller part of it, that you can't really use it for, you know, small spaces or anything like that. You would definitely want to go and get, you know, a different multi-tool like the Wave or something like that, or, you know, because have much more maneuverability given something like that. And so yeah, the other thing too is, instead of taking a hammer out, you can just use something like this to stamp tent stakes into the ground. But one, that's not exactly what these tools are designed for, but it'll get the job done in a pinch. And if you have a nice Leatherman, they do have the warranty for 25 years, so it's like, might as well make use of it, you know. And I mean, these things are beefy enough that it can handle it, but I'd probably leave it there with tent stakes and not try it with, like, you know, hammer and framing nails or anything like that. So if I were you and I had a need for a hammer in my life, or I like to go out camping, I think this thing is a great deal. And, you know, even if you're like an ultralight type of camper or something like that, it weighs a tiny amount less than this like fancy MSR hammer thing or whatever, and you get all the tools with it, so it gives you, you know, just a lot more utility for like the same size package, if not a little smaller. So yeah, if you like this review, please stay tuned for more cool kind of gadgets and tools and stuff I pick up along the way. And don't forget, if you like this, go ahead and like and subscribe. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.